Hey and welcome back to my channel, and today this is a complete new series. Why not make a behind the scenes of my edits? And yesterday I released a video, Pac-Man in a ghost town here in Tenerife. And this is what we'll look in today. I don't know why, but this building, it feels like it goes forever. I can't find the exit anymore. So this is the timeline that I have open here, and everything that you see here on the top are the clips are visual, and everything here on the bottom, that's the audio files. It would be easier to understand if I color coded that and also kind of like dropped all the layers down a little bit more so that it's more an overview. But on the positive side, now you see how I edit and how messy sometimes my edits are, even on a small video like this that is only 1 minute and 20 seconds. Let's begin with the intro part. Okay, so here in the intro I did a couple of things. So number one, when I start a video, I always want to try to reveal the characters or the location or something. Like the viewer, you have to kind of like take the viewer and bring them into what's going on. So in this case, we were in a ghost town in Tenerife. That's an island here from Spain in front of Africa. So this is this one here. And so I basically just load the map from Google Maps, Google Earth. I have a video how you can use Google Earth for your animations, because that's quick and dirty. So everything here in this video was quick and dirty because I do daily vlogging at the moment. So I want to produce high quality videos with as less effort as possible. So I linked the video up here. You can watch that one if you don't know how to do that, but you can basically record that from Google Earth. I speed ramped everything. So this is the first thing I want to show you if you have never seen that. If you know that one, just skip that. But this is the clip where I walk here and talk. Okay, so the way that you can speed ramp, there are two ways how you can do it. Number one, you can always cut your clip. This is the first way you can do it. This is the easy way. And then just go in, right click, and then change the speed and duration of that one clip. And you can change that here to whatever you want, 300%. So this is the way that I started speed ramping at the beginning. So you have a clip that is normal speed, and then you have it speed up and then normal speed again. For quick and dirty, that's sometimes even good enough, and I still use that sometimes. But in the most cases, the way that I now speed ramp is basically, I do it with the curves. So you can go here, right click on the function button, and then you can go for time ramping and speed, and then you will see this line, which is basically the representation of your speed of the clip. And what I can do now, you can either use the pen marker, it's this one, or P on the keyboard, P. I always use keyboard a lot to speed up my process, or hit Control on your keyboard, and then if you make a click, you get these two markers, another clip. So basically, if I now raise that here in the middle, you now see the percentage goes up. So from 100% to 170, 200, 300. So I can now speed ramp that little part the same way that I did just before. Now this time I don't have to cut the clip. So basically this will speed in normal speed, and this will be in speed. Feels like... So the sound comes from here, so don't get irritated. The original clip is still here. I just copied that clip here without the audio. So basically what you see now, you have to, let's mute this one. Here you can mute, single play. I mean, this is basic. I hope you understand a little bit of Premiere. Like I said, there's a tutorial, I will link it up in the top. So when you see here now, it's speeding up, and then it's going back to normal. And so the funny part about this method is actually you can drag those little markers in between, and what it will do now is, instead of immediately go from that speed to the maximum speed, it will slowly fade into this. And this gives you a more smooth speed ramping, okay? That's the basics. If you want to learn more about this, look it up, search it up, speed ramping, how it works. But this is basically the way how I do it. So what I did here already in the beginning, let's introduce the new character. The new character is the fly. I don't know if you can see it, but this fly is completely animated. You can hear it. It comes in, it jumps around. In the original video, this one here, let me show you this really quick. So the people probably think that's a real fly, but I actually included it. And the reason why is I basically went to Epidemic Sound. And Epidemic Sound is the website where I take all my music from and also my sound effects. And I was actually looking for a beep sound, but I searched for bee. And then I got bees. And then I immediately came up with this idea, can I create a fake bee? And how I did this was basically I went to the internet, I searched for a PNG file. PNG because then all what is here in white will be transparent, so I don't have to deal with this. Like I said, quick and dirty. So if I place it onto the screen, you will not notice that this is not a real one. I used the position, scaling and rotation and just tried to mimic the way of a fly. You see that? I changed the size and everything, and so it looks like she was flying onto the lens. So next you see this window. I go through the window and then I start glitching to the next shot. And basically how I did this is I used a mask for masking, and what I do is I mask this one out, so everything that will now be below this clip will be visible here in this frame. And the way you do this is basically frame by frame, you mask the position where the window is going. This is the clip that is now underneath, so this is the original clip, and the frame comes in here, okay? And what I did now is I used, this is the reason why these clips are on top of this one. I used the glitch effect, which is just from a pack that I bought. So I don't create those glitch effects. You can buy those stuff now. I just drop them in and then use it whenever I need it. There are a couple of different ones and I just use them whatever fits. And so with the glitch, I changed to the next clip, which is basically this one here, where I move forward. So the next thing is again masking. I would do a lot in this video with masking. So the way that I did this is basically in this clip, there's a masking that reveals what is underneath. So basically here, this is the original clip where I just walk. And in this clip, this is the clip where I start walking from here. So if we cancel this one, I just mask out where I was walking underneath this one. So like this, see that? And then I did the same for the next one. And the Pac-Man idea, actually, I didn't have the Pac-Man idea at the beginning. When I recorded this one, I had just had the idea to mask myself out, so to make it a little bit weird walking around. But while I was editing, I came up with this idea, why not use, there's the fly again. So this is the main character in this video, you see that? And so while I was editing, I came up with this idea of why not use the Pac-Man. And so the Pac-Man, again, simple, quick and dirty. I found this GIF from Pac-Man. It comes with this black background, and let's move this one a little bit here so that the other Pac-Man is gone. Hey Pac-Man, bye-bye. So basically how you can remove this without working with Photoshop or something is you can go to the opacity in the settings here of this clip, and then you can change the blend mode to some of the different blend modes that you have. In my case, that was working enough, but you can play around with these different blend modes that you can use, and sometimes it's good enough. And the way that I animated Pac-Man from left to right is just simply using the keyframes for the motion. So basically in motion 1, he's somewhere here, then he comes in and moves to the other position, and you can achieve that by basically going into the clip, hitting the stopwatch, so it will create a keyframe here, and then you can move over to the right side and just change where it's moving, and then set another keyframe. Now when you hit play, it's moving around like this. So the problem now is you want to still have this animation where Pac-Man is kind of like blah 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 blah, eat, right? But we want to have this faster. This is why we speeded up everything. So the clip is not long enough to go from left to right. So the way that I did it was basically I duplicated those clips behind each other, and then I just used in and out point. When you go to export, you can make a file, and then you have a clip with this Pac-Man. Normally I do this in a different sequence, which is kind of like my work sequence where I just do stuff around. So we have all this, everything black in the background, that's fine. So now here the same, go to file, export. You can just use here YouTube Full HD. That's actually a pretty good format if you don't know anything about the settings here inside. But anyway, we don't want to talk about this now. Let's go back to Pac-Man. Pac-Man is coming from the left to the right. And to make this more real, I kind of like have to let him come from this door and finish in this door. Yeah, under opacity, you can draw a mask. And basically what I did is I created a mask like this. Bam. Pac-Man comes to this border, he's disappearing. And you have to be careful with the moving part. So if you move, also this mask will move. So what you have to do is you first start with animating Pac-Man, and now you can go in here and make the stopwatch for the masking path, so that when Pac-Man comes, it comes from one side to the next side. You understand the idea? Masking. Okay, let's come to the most funny part of this video and also the most intense editing part of this video. Okay, so my idea was I was recording this clip that you can see here in the background without my camera, and I really liked that one so much when I saw that one. And because in my original video, I want to show you this really quick. All these cacti here on the island, they are very beautiful. Okay, so what I did here, I filmed my camera like I would play an ego shooter with this idea, hey, one point in the future I have to make like a little ego shooter or something like that. And this was a test. I wasn't thinking about the Pac-Man video yet, but I knew I recorded my camera and I wanted to use this one. But what I recorded here was not long enough, and it was also moving in different positions. And so I could use this one with the masking again. So I could use the masking technique and do this, but it would be so much work. I didn't like that one. So what I did, I just captured a frame, and you can basically do this here in Premiere when you hit this little button here, this one, export frame, and then it will give you a location, and then you can export the frame. And now I created this image here. And what I did with this image, I went to Photoshop, and then I just cut out everything in Photoshop. I created a complete new sequence just for the shaky camera, because as you can see here in this part of the video, the camera that I hold in my hand is shaking, and I wanted to create this effect like you're playing a game. And in this sequence I placed my camera, and then in my pack that I'm using for the glitches and everything, there is a shaking, moving, emotion shaking effect in. And so basically everything that is under that, it will shake. And this is how I came up with this idea. Not too much effort, once again, quick and dirty. I didn't want to spend a week animating my camera, so I used that one on top, and I also used a white color mate underneath this one, because now when I go back and I place this image here, it will be white. And if we do the color key, what you can do basically is you can pick a color, in this case white, and it will make white disappear. And then to get the edge, because if you see this now, you will get some white edges, and the edges you can change here with the thinness of your edges. You can play around until it's good, and that was good enough for me. And then this is how I created the effect. So then of course, like in the game, I created those kind of things here. From GTA, I created this in Photoshop. It's my camera that I'm holding, and I also created this little map that is turning around. Let's start with this one. Super simple. I didn't animate this at all. So I found this GIF here in the internet, which is basically counting the numbers. It's a GIF, it's not a video, no animation. And I used this one. I didn't have to transparent that. I could just use this and change this one from normal to darken, and then it would look like this. Perfect. So to get my own image in, I just cropped the other image. So basically using crop, going from the right side from 0 to 50%, and then I just placed the image on top of this one. This is how I created that. Most important part in this edit is actually the sound design. So I came from the music part to this really quiet one. I wanted to create this horror atmosphere. This was the part that has to be the most scary part, and also I didn't want it to look too amateurish. And the way how I achieved that is basically, once again, I just used a GIF file, this one here, and I made it transparent because originally it was black. I could have done a better job, but it was so many clips I didn't want to do this. So like here you can see still the brown background. Put it into the video and I made the whole Pac-Man giant. I wanted to, if you see it, you can become scared. and it had to look realistic. So when I move back here with my camera, I do a couple of things. Number one, I changed the orientation of my camera, so you can see that maybe here it makes a little pop. Let me see if I can show you this one. It moves back everything. Don't look at the colors, that's a separate effect. So what I mean now is like I used shaky motion on top of what it was already doing. So this is this effect in the moment when Pac-Man is revealed. Bam! So this is effect number one. Effect number two is, this is the original clip. I just moved back and I wanted to make it more scary while changing the colors. The way I created this is basically, I used the camera clip. Let me copy this one here. So I used the camera clip. And now, do you remember we used key color? So I turn off the key color, so we have it white now. And now I can swap around with the different blending modes. And I found this blending mode that was, you could even use something like that, but I just used something that was more brighter, overlay. So I have the two colors on top of them. This is normal, this is original. So this is original, this is the overlay modus. And what I did now is I just cut off the parts where it should overlay and the parts where it doesn't should overlay. So now if I go through the footage here to the timeline, you can see that the colors are changing. At the same time also the camera moves back, and this gives this effect of something very scary is coming. How I did that is basically I started with the keyframes for the position and the scale of the Pac-Man. So depending where my video was, I moved back here. And so I wanted to give this impression that I run back faster than Pac-Man is coming. So Pac-Man had to shrink down. So this is why I used the scaling position. So to make Pac-Man smaller. And to give this realistic look, you see the wall here coming in. So I had to mask out. And the way I did this is again here under masking, you can change, under opacity, you can change the path. And this takes a little bit of time of work every time when you do this, because you basically have to do it for every frame. Okay, I show you what I mean by that one. So basically, if I now delete this mask, so Pac-Man is coming here in the frame, and I can now start here, make this if you don't want this side, if you want to change it, you can just hit invert. Don't forget to hit mask path. So now this one frame is set to this one. And now it will always be the same. You see this? It doesn't match really good. What you can do, in some shots it's working like this. You can just go to the beginning, change the path for that one, and go to the end, and change the path for that one. So what it will create now is it will create a linear constraint between those points that you set. So it will move automatically through those points. And sometimes that's already good enough, depends on the situation. Like in this case, there's a lot of movement coming in. So this is why it's not really working perfect. But if you, for example, just have a wall that comes from one side to the left, like the most of the transitions that you know or see, then it can work like this. You only have to do like 3 or 4 points, and then it's already working, the effect. But in a video like this, where you want to make it perfect, you kind of like have to go frame by frame and go into the path and change the path position. Also here, what you can do is you can create new points. So I set a new point here, new point there, and then sometimes one is enough. Or if I want to make it more smooth, I take 2 to create this one. You have to play around with this one. It takes a lot of time, but if you do a proper job, you can create really good transitions, or in this case, you can create this 3D effect that Pac-Man is actually in the room. This makes or breaks your animation, okay? That's the fly again. She is the big player in this video at the moment. So this part is actually pretty straightforward. The different movement of the cameras, I just do it with keyframing of the zooming. So this is basically a picture. I have this little girl that I put in, also here. See the start clip here. She's here. So she starts coming here on top and then here. And that's the actual animation. So what I did here, I went to the internet again. Lazy, quick and dirty, very creepy. I found this GIF. And what I did is I placed this into my timeline. I just used a mask again. You see all the points? And I just followed her positioning. And this is basically how I created that. And to make it more scary, you can also go in and change the opacity. Here, this one. Lower or higher depending on your shot, so that it looks a little bit more like a ghost. Just be creative with the stuff that you have. You don't have to create everything. To make this animation more cool, I always use those glitch effects, but just a slightly one to kind of show that she's coming. And to make it more horror, we never talked about the sound design, but sound design is always important. It depends on which videos you're doing. Sound design is what makes this video more realistic. Like this animation of the fly, for example, it sounds realistic because of this realistic sound. Very creepy, I like it. And me jumping off. When I recorded this one, I had no idea what I wanted to do with the video, to be honest. I just did that out of, I don't know, I don't really know. Yeah, so I needed an ending. So the original idea was never a Pac-Man idea. My original idea was to just show me in different positions. So the way I do this is I recorded myself one time walking along the hallway on left side and one time walking along the hallway on the right side. I have a path, mask this side and mask your side. Pretty straightforward. And then it just fit perfectly because the timing was so good that I was standing here, kind of like trying to reach the end where the camera is standing. So Pac-Man came out. So the way that I change Pac-Man's color is basically, again, this is the Pac-Man clip and this is another Pac-Man clip, and I just change the blend mode from subtract to screen. I place the other footage on top. So basically, again, like this, I place it on top and then I cut out the pieces I don't want, like this. Select them, delete, delete. The animation for the explosion is, again, it's a GIF, this one. Comes with this brownish color in the background. To get rid of this color is, again, keyframing. This time even twice. I choose two different colors. So basically it came in like this. I choose that one. But you probably could also just use one, and you can change the tolerance of the color here. And then you could create the same. So this is obsolete, you don't need the second one. But you can do it even with two colors. That's basically why I wanted to show you this. So you can use twice the color keying. What I also did, I put some Gaussian blur on it, just to make it more fit into the frame while it's animating. I let myself disappear just with dissolve. So here in the background, this is the clip. And then the same for the second time. Drive for progress, not perfectionism. This is basically what is in my header in my YouTube channel, and this is the first video that I created in this series, and I made a lot of mistakes and I could probably make it even way better, and you don't even want to know how long it took me to record all of this. But you know what? The first one is now out, step by step by step. If you have any questions to my edit or anything in particular you want to know more about it, let me know in the comments and let me know what you think about this format. If you want to see more of this kind of videos in the future, then I will go through my edits of my videos, of my cool stuff in the future. We see us tomorrow, because I'm Daniel. We see us tomorrow. I'm Daniel. Bye.